A huge event recently happened in India, the FIDE Women's Grand Prix, the fifth leg of which was held in Pune, and it was a big success for Indian chess. Koneru Humpy won the event with an amazing score of 7 out of 9. What stood out for me was the quality of her games and some brilliant chess that was played. And it gives me great pleasure that today she is here with us and we'll be able to get her thoughts on the games and her overall feelings on the event. Hello, Humpy.
Hi, Sagar.
Humpy, congratulations for this huge victory that you scored in Pune. Very tough event. I think it was a very neck and neck run with Zhu Jinner right till the very end.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think like strength-wise, it's not very strong, but comparing with the Grand Prix which I played in Monaco, because there were some withdrawals in the tournament and the replacements happened in the last moment. But definitely, as you said, Eugene had played quite well, and even in the start of the tournament, she had two wins in a row. So
Yes.
I started with two draws, so I was behind most of the time. So it was very neck to neck competition, and whenever there was a need for a victory, I think we both did the same things, and the main advantage was I was able to beat her in a crucial
Oh.
game. I think that really helped me to clinch the title.
I think that was such an exciting game because it came at a time when she was half a point ahead. You had to
Right.
win, and it happens not very often that you are able to win and then win the tournament. Then after that,
Yeah. But I've faced such situations in many occasions, so I know it's not always easy or comfortable to be a leader. It's also a very
uh,
challenging part to, maintain that leadership in the whole tournament. Yeah, it happens for every player.
absolutely. I want to go through this entire event a little bit with you to get your thoughts on how you felt at different moments. But first, just for our viewers, these are the final standings. Humpy finished first, 7 out of 9. Zhu Jinner scored 7 out of 9 as well. Divya was third with 5.5 points. Then Harika, Shuvalova, Vaishali, Salimova, Salome Melia, Alina Kashlinskaya, and Batkuyag Munguntul. And this is a very nice picture from the closing ceremony where we have the top three finishers here, Humpy, Divya, and Zujiner. Before we dive into the event, Humpy, my question is, how did you find this entire event, the organization of it happening in India in Pune?
Yeah, it's really nice. So it always feels good to play in the home country. Like you'll have all the comforts of having Indian food and the weather. Like you, and apart from that, the organization was good and the venue. And also thanks to the sponsors for
Hmm.
supporting the event. Like it's not easy to, organize such an international tournament in India without the support of the sponsors. So I think it went very smoothly, and I think also the foreign players who visited Pune, they have also enjoyed the Indian food and the hospitality.
Hmm.
So this tournament also stands special as I have won the classical event after a long time.
Yeah. Also, I loved this photo which was taken at the opening ceremony. This has, I think, all the kind of big chess
Yeah,
lovers of Pune,
right.
from many, many years. And this is a very nice picture with, of course, Abhijit Kunte also being there, his father being there in this picture.
Yeah, and also the most important factor is every day there used to be a lot of fans coming to watch our games and waiting for our autographs. Um, so it is following the games,
So, sorry,
but
you had, I think you got cut for a bit. There were a lot of fans who were coming every day. And then, yeah.
yeah, every day to take the autographs and pictures. Like I have seen some of them coming from different states just to, you know,
Oh.
watch us and to get clicked. I think that's a huge encouragement to us as well as a players, because we know India is more popular for cricket,
Mm.
but now we are making them turn their heads into other sports. So chess is one of that sport which has gained the popularity from the time of pandemic, and we are glad that the spectators are getting involved, and I'm also happy that the Indian chess is rising according to the expectations of them.
Yeah, and you are playing such a big role. I think one thing which I've always seen Humpy you talking about is the next generation. Even in your speech at the closing ceremony, you spoke about hope my win inspires the younger generation. It's something that I think means a lot to you right now that you play chess. Would that be correct to say?
Yeah, definitely. I think for every player, there will be a certain era. After that, you always need to get a players next generation players to take over. It happens at some point of stage, and as a huge country, we need to have more and more players coming up
Mm.
into the profession, because now we see at China, like with every time we find some talent, once they're shining, we'll see the youngsters coming up in a row. So
Correct.
I think they had a very good backing system, the training support and all from the government and the Chinese Chess Federation. We need to build such type of structure in India as well, so that we don't lack players. There shouldn't be much of a gap.
Mm.
So it's important that we build players of at every level.
Amazing, amazing. Humpy, I wanted to go through a few of your games. There were some amazing, exciting games, and especially this third round battle where you had two draws, then you were facing Divya, who had scored two wins in a row. So she was definitely in good form coming into this game. How did you approach this game? And you have you played Divya before?
We played few Bleach games and classical. I think we Bleach and Rapid as well in Tata Steel and World Rapid and Bleach, and only one classical, if I remember well, in one of the Grand Prix. Yeah, with black pieces, it was a draw. So this was our second classical game, and my first one as white.
Yes.
Uh, so yeah.
And you both
And
have a
the
very
opening was a surprise for her. Usually, in the recent times, I haven't played this English opening. Most of the time, I've been playing Queen Pawn. So, yeah, I did a little bit of work before the event as well. So, probably that really helped me to, do some changes in my opening report.
wow.
Um,
And
yeah, it's,
this was your prep. I saw the speed at which you played,
right,
so it's still your.
right, right. Uh, this is quite a well-known, popular line. Uh, so
I think this was maybe the first move that you played over the
I
board.
thought over the board and played because, of course, even I didn't expect her to play this setup
Correct.
for English opening. So it was also quite new for me because I never play such positions with either of the colors.
Right.
Um, so definitely, I felt here knight d before was not that great. Um Uh, okay, she can play 90 before, but somewhere I felt she should go for uh, moves like head six. Let's go a bit further.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Here,
no, no.
knight d4
After.
d. Yeah, actually, here there was a moment where she had to find some very difficult move, which was knight c2
Knight
here.
C2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
because it's quite interesting. In fact, I should have played A3 instead of taking H G6. That's more accurate.
hmm,
Uh, because here, knight B C2, I could go rook A2. Or maybe not here, sorry, rook b1.
yeah,
Knight,
rook
knight
b1.
b here I go rook b1 with the plan of b3 or e3. Because once I take the pawn on g6,
Mm-hmm.
um, I thought after a3, knight b c2, I'll go rook a2. This was my plan initially. But then f5 was a very important move. f5, knight d2. And now the problem is like whenever I go
There's this irritating move, bishop h5, yeah, like,
Bishop h5,
yeah.
right, right. Like bishop h5. Like I can't go b3 because of knight b4.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is the problem which I missed during the game. Um,
And
so
then
it's
e2
quite
is it.
a tactical thing. And for me, I felt it's very logical to play knight b c2 over the board because since I already demolished her kingside structure,
Hmm.
she can't play anymore the balanced position. It's already disturbed. She need to create some counter chances.
Right.
So this is what I was like thinking very seriously, but I was very happy when she went back with her knight. And in fact, even in the earlier positions, somewhere I felt GHP was the right move to play. Just can you go after castle, after knight b4, d3?
Yeah.
Yeah. Here, I believe GH5 is the strongest move to fight, like utilizing my short castling.
Right.
Okay, it's still a double-edged game, but these would complicate the game even more.
What I was amazed is that after knight d5 in this game, with a beautiful idea of putting the knight on f4, which is a
Yeah.
great square, I think you gave her no chance. It was a very smooth game.
Yeah.
And I guess there's not much that she could have done. I mean, e5 was a perhaps a rash decision by her.
Yeah. EFI doesn't help in either way, but it was hard for black to, to find moves also.
And also, this
So
was
now,
a nice idea. Queen b1
yeah,
with
my
b4.
plan is to get this b4. Actually, I could even start with b4 instead of rook c1, but over the board, I felt rook c1 was more pleasant to play.
Hmm.
Uh, even b4 is fine.
b4 takes, and yeah, I think this was also a nice. I felt like you are going for a mate now with king g2 and something on the h file that could
But
have.
in reality, mate is not happening. I
Right.
do have some threats, but black is having a defensive position. I think queen c2 is very important to take over the control over the file.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, if not for queen c2, there was this one very weird move that I was analyzing afterwards with the engine. It was showing queen f1 with this idea, but
queen.
it's
Okay.
very. But
Okay,
queen
I did
c2.
not check the whole game set properly. Might
Yeah.
be a strong. Yeah, yeah.
But this is beautiful, like the way in which you converted this. I think there was even here this decision, of course. I think she takes, she cannot do it because of this, the mate here.
Yeah, mate, right, right. Because earlier I was unable to go queen f7 without king g2.
Yeah.
Uh, just knight into queen f7, knight e4, and king g2. She has both knight f6 and knight f2.
Mm,
So mate is not happening.
nice.
Even knight f6 and knight h5.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's also a great defense here, and knight h5.
yeah, yeah.
But this, and then uh,
I think when I played Queen C8, we were close to 40 moves,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I found the quality of time here. Initially, I was planning to play Bishop C3.
Hmm.
I almost went for the move, then somehow I hesitated after Rook C7, Queen B3. I felt I could even play much better here without allowing this Rook back to the file. Then I went for this Queen C8 plan because I realized there is no clear mate. So I just need to convert the position to a comfortable endgame. So for me, this exchanging the queens is more or less forced for black, and I believe this is a completely winning position because all the black pawns are isolated and double, and at the same time I have a double bishop advantage. So it should be winning, but it's a matter of technique on how to convert it.
But when you, the way in which you converted also showed that you were not shying away from direct moves, like f4
Right.
here with knight
Yeah.
g4 coming in. You had to find perhaps the only path to victory.
Yeah. Right.
And with king going to e4 next, then king d5, which was also
Right.
very nice. I think it, and the last position is beautiful in the sense that the material is even, but all of white pieces are just so much superior to black.
Yeah, everything is centralized, and the A7 pawn is going to be lost, and the knight on H2 is doing nothing. So,
Yeah, and then this was just a very,
yeah, it's just a calculation to finish off the game. Yeah.
yeah. So this was a great win by you, and I think this would have set the tone for the tournament, right? With this victory, I think you would have got into the flow.
Right. Definitely, like when you are having lots of draws, that one victory is very much needed to, get back into the standings and also into the right frame of mind.
Yeah.
Sometimes too many draws also irritate you. But there are tournaments where I had plenty of draws, and by taking the risk, I also lost some crucial
Mm.
games. So yeah, yeah, many things happen when we are playing, but here particularly, I think I was also in good form, so I utilized the opportunities whenever my opponent made those mistakes.
Right. What are your thoughts on Divya's play here? And in general, I think she's someone who's improving and also playing in very strong events. She played in Tata Steel Challengers, then Prague Challengers. She didn't have great results, but she was always trying to play fighting chess and so on. What is your
I
take on
think
her?
by nature, she had an attacking style,
Yes.
but of course, she's still inexperienced. And okay, she's good when the opponent falls into the preparation, but when it's new, I think she's still yet to gain the experience and the strength to fight back.
Nice. Right. And then you had Paulina Shuvalova, who's a very strong player. I was very like this turned out to be a very interesting moment where she took, and then kind of forced this end game. I don't know if you felt really good after this.
No, I was aware of this position. Like her H3 was completely a bad move when my king was in center. So
Hmm.
I know this idea for many years already, but it never occurred on the board. In fact, I didn't expected her to play this opening and particularly this move over the board.
Hmm.
I think she just did it. Probably she also didn't expect me to play in this move order, and it was her overboard choice, and things just worked out for me.
So what
Uh,
you are saying essentially is when black hasn't castled and white has
H3 is
castled
definitely a bad move
because
because we
of
all know
G5.
that in Italian there are a lot of positions with this G5 rolling. So H3 is clearly a bad move.
And then when you reached here, somehow within like couple of moves, you got such a comfortable position here.
Yeah, black is like black doesn't have any real problems. White need to develop the knight and rook, and the coordination is bad.
Hmm.
My pawns are already placed in black squares, whereas
Yes.
there is a light squared bishop on the board. So I don't have any problems. White just need to solve, and I didn't like knight a3 at all.
Hmm.
I would prefer to go knight d2.
Right.
Uh, um, yeah, because just to keep the flexibility with the knight.
And then this just became quite an easy. I mean, the entire game also flowed very naturally here.
Yeah,
You won without much of a struggle.
right.
And
So
so,
there's a coordination issue for white, so that's a big problem. I think this is the crucial moment where I need to calculate the moves. Yeah, just go ahead with the game. Knight f3.
rook b2.
Yeah, knight d5. I think knight d7 is a key move.
Hmm.
So here, if knight d3, I go
Rook
rook
c2. Yeah.
c2, right? A knight e1, rook d2, and knight f3. Now I go rook b2.
Yes. Your rook is safe on the second rank.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So again, it's the same. After taking on e6, fe6, my knight gets to c5. And then this a4 pawn is a big drawback. And again, I have a chance to play b5 and get the outside passer as well.
Right. And it happened in the game as well. Knight
Yeah,
d7.
yeah. Knight d7.
And this is just, I mean,
Yeah,
it's something that I don't think someone can survive here against you. So,
yeah, right.
uh,
No, my plans are quite simple. Like I'm utilizing the my advantage on the queen side, and I think the most important is to take the e6 with the f
yes.
pawn, because if I take with the king, the rook will come to d3. Sorry, after a b5, c b5, rook d3. So rook gets a square on rook d5.
Aha,
D5 is the plan. So it's important to take with fe6 to stop this activation of rook, and at the same time to have a rook f8 plan.
hmm,
Rook f8, f3, rook d8, rook d2 is the one of the plans.
right.
Uh, yeah, I think from here it's just a matter
Yeah,
of
you
just
converted
doing the
this
pawns. Yeah, yeah.
very well. And then we came to this game. Of course, this is very quiet game with
Yeah,
Harika.
Harika, right.
And but you had the white pieces. Did you feel like with a quick draw that it was not the best result for you, or like how was your
No,
feeling here?
not really. I doesn't hesitate of, I felt the position was very much fine for both the players,
Hmm.
and I was also like bit tired before the game, like after playing 4 rounds. So I was also waiting for the rest to take, and so I'm happy with the results. I don't have any hesitation of making that short draw.
Yeah.
But I was considering of playing this, taking on f6 and playing the end game. But I saw every time she's getting this knight e5 and exchanging the light squared bishop and going, I mean, after bg5, queen c7 later on.
Yeah. Bishop b7, bg5, queen c7. Yeah. Taking here. Yeah.
Yeah, here take on f6, gf6, something like knight e1. And she could go either knight e5 or knight e7. Uh, and then get this knight to g6. If knight g2, knight to g6, maybe.
Maybe you would have played on if like it was maybe a must-win game or something. Yeah. This
Yeah,
position.
definitely, definitely. But I'm in a comfortable position as well, so I thought I'll just go ahead with the next plan for the next rounds and take
Right.
care.
And I think this was the rest day, right? After round five.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had a rest after this.
And then next game, I mean, I don't think you would have imagined that your opponent would go for this, or were you ready for it with Munguntul?
Yeah, I was. She never played it, but generally I was ready for it.
Yeah, I saw like this is such a great piece of prep that this you went for this b5 line. I think she was surprised, maybe. Yes.
Right, right. She's not aware of the opening. For two moves she played Bishop F1 was the right move to go.
Yes, this is bishop f1
Um,
she played, and then knight d5,
yeah,
bishop b5, bishop
yeah.
b7.
Until here it was fine, but here she has to play moves like either D4 or Queen H5.
Right.
Queen F3 is definitely a bad move, and she spent a lot of time before making this move. That itself shows she's not aware of the plans over here. So yeah, once she played Queen f3, it's very obvious for me to go for this Queen d7 and long castle idea.
This piece of opening prep is very impressive for me from the standpoint that we all know you are a very strong player. Like when you outplay someone in middle game and end game, that's not we've seen that. But you had this line kind of prepped up from beforehand, and this is also shows that you are spending a lot of time on chess for your events.
Yeah, like usually I make sure I spend at least 20 days before a event. I try to keep it on a regular practice basis. Of course, if I have a lot of time, then usually my practice won't be that regular. Like I'll be spending more time with my daughter and family. But when I know there is an important tournament, I make sure, so that I will be alert with the
Hmm.
opening part and everything. Because it's not easy to sustain at this level
Yes.
also without having a good amount of knowledge and practice.
Absolutely. And which is why I think a lot of people are now turning towards freestyle chess. I don't know if you
Right.
are following those
No, I'm
developments.
not following much, but definitely I think that would be more interesting and fun. You don't need to prepare so much. Like you can play it natural. That's one of the reasons I started liking more bleach
Mm.
and rapid, so that the preparation part will be quite less. But in classical, we can't help it. Like you need to be really well prepared to play in such strong tournaments.
But at some point, would you be interested, like, to play freestyle, or of course you have a completely packed
I really
calendar?
don't know if I can spend so much quality time on chess to learn something new. Because making this possible itself is sometimes very difficult to manage everything. Right now, I don't have any plans.
Mm, correct. In this particular game, the way in which it sort of went on, you long castled, you got a very strong attack on the king side.
Yeah.
And again, the attack was just completely flowing here. You got queen f5.
Yeah, she has to play Queen D1, like knight E2 is too bad.
Hmm.
Of course, it's even though it's a very bad position, but at least
She had to play g4 to stop your g4, and then you just
my
got
G4,
h5.
yeah. But now the whole white diagonal is completely weak.
And also, the thing is, here you played very
I think
accurately.
King B8 is very important, like not to take on G4, and even that's advantage, hey, G4, Queen G4, King B8, F3. But still, it's more precise to start with King B8.
Hmm.
Even this is a big advantage. There is no doubt about it.
And then you also played this, I mean, rook
Yeah,
h8.
I
Just
was looking for these plans. I was not worried about the material because White King is so
yeah,
weak.
it's just a mate here, actually,
Yeah,
check
yeah,
and f3.
right.
So f3, and then okay, this game just was super smooth. You won this in a very nice style. So now you are on +3, going into like in most other events you would be in the lead by this point with +3, but here you are half a point behind Zujiner.
Yeah, it's true that Jujen also played really well. Like she won many crucial games as well.
And she's actually becoming, even before the tournament, I was speaking to a few people and they were saying that Zujiner is really one of the
Yeah,
strongest
she has
players.
improved her game from the past 1 year. There was a lot of improvement. And even in the earlier Grand Prix also, she did very well. So
Yeah.
she's been playing very steadily.
How did you approach this game? I saw the opening choice that
Mhm.
you made, which was like you didn't get any real opening advantage as such.
In fact, she's the one who surprised me with this line.
With b6
So
already, or
sorry,
with.
yeah, by playing B6, right? We
Okay.
had a couple of games before where we had Nimzo Indian and also some other Queen Pawn lines, but this is the first time we are playing this Queen's Indian,
Hmm.
and she doesn't play this much. Probably she prepared on my games. Yeah, she was very comfortable out of the opening. Like
She
I spent
was.
a lot of time, and some yeah. Here my bishop b4 was a bad move to start.
You mean bishop
Probably
f4?
I should have played some. Sorry, bishop f4. Probably I should have started with knight e5. Uh, right. So
But
bishop
I like
f4.
this move rook c2, which is very creative, that making a square for your bishop to come here.
Yeah, but after knight e6, bishop c1, she should have. I felt she should take knight d4. Knight d4, queen d4, bishop c5, queen f4, bishop d6, knight f7, king f7. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should start with queen f5 or queen d2. I'm not sure.
Hmm.
Uh, so let later
Queen
on
f5.
c6. I don't know. Somehow like this, I felt black should continue.
Hmm. But in the game, she went c5.
This is absolutely fine. But I felt that's like converting, like changing the structure is a bit more practical over the board. But this is definitely a very balanced position. There isn't any advantage for me here.
Correct.
Uh, uh,
Were you
she could.
getting a bit tensed here, or you were just fine? Like,
No,
because
no,
you
I'm not
nothing,
tensed.
not at all.
Not like I'm not kind of desperate or expecting something. I just want to play whatever best possible.
Hmm.
So I wasn't tensed at all. I was just trying to find what I could do. I was happy to see this Queen E7, Queen F8.
Yeah, little
Somehow,
bit
looking
weird
like,
maneuver.
yeah, yeah, right, right. It wasn't doing anything there. And but okay, there isn't much of a possibilities for me as A6 is quite simple to equalize.
But maybe she was afraid of knight c7. I don't know.
It's nothing actually. She can even play rook c8 without taking on c7 also.
Uh-huh.
Even that should be fine.
Right.
But okay, take and rook e7 is also there.
Yeah, correct. Take rook e7 and black should be fine here.
Yeah, yeah.
But she went bishop a6,
Yeah,
a4.
once she went for bishop a6, I was pretty sure I'm having a good position because I'm getting my knight. Maybe here, I think Queen F5 was not even required. I
Hmm.
could have went
Knight
direct knight
c6. Correct.
six immediately because it's not letting this queen come into the game immediately. Here again, she gets her queen back to game,
You
like
mean by
after.
queen e7 or
Yeah, I mean after taking on b5
take
because she
take?
can go directly. Yeah, yeah. But okay, even then it's a huge advantage.
Yeah, it's amazing how this position has transformed, and then
Right,
this very nice maneuver bishop f1 to get it to d3.
right.
And I was wondering if here you played a great move h4, I thought takes. And were
No,
you,
here I made a big
yes,
mistake.
were you thinking like bishop
Actually, my
c1 or something?
plans, yes, my plans were to play something like bishop c1, rook e2, and to get
Right.
bg5, or even then get the knight to e5 and g4 at some point. Something like this I was calculating. Somehow, when I thought of bishop c1, I think I hesitated it because of a6 or a5. I don't remember exactly now. Something like this.
Hmm. So bishop c1, maybe a5,
Yeah, maybe a5.
because you
I thought
didn't
I could
want
just
this.
play knight
Hmm.
e5. I completely forgot that she could just grab the knight. I mean, I felt there will be a lot of pawns hanging, so I thought knight e5, she'll move the queen. Then I plan to get my rook to e2
Correct.
so that I'll not allow this a5. Anytime I can get back my knight to something like this, some weird calculation I made, and but after making the move, I immediately realized I made a mistake, and
Yeah.
she played the best.
By this point, it feels like even if she loses this pawn, which you could, it would have been nothing because her knight
Nothing
is so
because of
good.
this strong knight on e6. That's what I realized after making the move, like how stupid I was to play this knight e5,
Correct.
losing such a strong knight.
How do you generally recover from such a moment, like, or you just don't feel too much, because now it feels like black has got back into the
Yeah, I
game.
understood. I lost the advantage and I made a bad decision. But now, now I thought, okay, whatever happened is gone. So I just need to play again the best possible and not to give her an opportunity to get a bad bishop versus good knight end games or something like this. I
Yes.
was just hoping for that.
And
Because this
somewhere,
pawn itself is quite dangerous at this moment, but d4 was a huge
did you
mistake
feel
because
it during the game that this is a mistake?
yeah, yeah, I
Hmm.
understood it during the
Because
game.
it's such a natural move, you don't even
Very
feel.
natural move, but it's giving the opportunity for the white queen to penetrate.
Correct.
And if the pawn is going to d3, then it's fine. But I have this b4. That's the big problem in this.
Hmm.
It's not going any further. The pawn is being stuck here.
And somehow you also get the c6 square here, which is very
Yeah, I
important.
think by here we finished this 40 move thing.
Yeah, here is, I think this
Yeah,
was the 40th
yeah,
move.
yeah. 40 moves, yeah. And this is where I spent a lot of time again. And Bishop C4 is a very important plan. Uh, yeah, in many positions, I'm threatening this Bishop E6 and Bishop G5.
Mhm. Yeah, suddenly her king has become weak, and then she got greedy and at some point captured this pawn, which
Yeah,
was.
here her problem was like 'cause she's finding it hard to get the moves.
Mhm.
Like she can go knight b1 once again, bishop e1. I think this is what she has to play, I believe. Again, knight to c3. Uh, Here I have bishop into e6, but then f into e6 she can go. Because queen e6 simply loses. I'll exchange the queen, take on c3 and king e2. King on
Ah,
f1 is useful that way.
oh,
This was my plan over the board. I think
wow.
this is what scared me for her not to play knight b1, but
Humpy,
this is what
I'm
she has to
completely
play.
shocked with this line. I think white should win, right? The engine shows
Yeah,
this as a draw, perhaps. It's.
this I don't know.
Oh my God. I
I
mean,
thought
any
this
human being would think this should win with
is
4
the
versus
yeah, I
3.
also felt so over the board.
Oh my
I
God.
did not think any further from
Maybe
this
she
point.
also felt that this is not.
Obviously,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Okay, so that's why she got a bit like she took
Yeah,
the
that's
pawn.
the reason why she panicked and she started calculating all this wrong direction stuff. Um,
And take queen b1. Of course, the main point here is that if she takes back, it's almost a mate now. Like queen
right,
c7
right,
check,
right,
king g8, and bishop h6. There's
right.
just no
This is
way.
the plan.
So she had to give check, king here, check, king h2, queen e2, and again
We
very.
probably missed, I guess she missed bishop c4
Uh,
because again, it's a mate here.
yes,
She can't
this
take
is a.
on d2, queen f6, and queen h8.
And she won. Here you won the game. This is just piece up. This was such a critical win. I guess at this point you would have felt like now the tournament is in your favor, right? Like you are half point lead.
Yeah, definitely I was positive because I'm able to, convert the positions. I think that's more important than,
Then,
thinking about the leading or something. But I'm happy that I was able to convert the positions.
but Humpy, next round was so stressful. I mean, at this, you were
Yeah, I
almost
think that's
in
that's
lost,
a
right?
completely lost game. I played very bad out of the opening. I was not in a right frame of mind also. I did very bad. And I was very lucky to escape this. I
Mm,
think the whole tournament we both had one bad games each. Like I had this one and she had one against Salimova and Urgul as well, where
right.
Juju was completely losing and she escaped. So both were lucky to escape in these two games.
Here, white is definitely like winning with
Any
rook
move would
d5.
win,
Yeah,
any move, like rook d5, king f2, anything would win. Only this is the only trap I had.
you had seen this, yeah, that this if
Yeah,
she
I have
takes
seen this. I have seen this. Yeah.
take and knight c5, and now all of a sudden she loses her key pawn,
Loses the pawn, right?
and this is just a draw now. So this
Yeah.
was a great escape. And then in the last round, I personally thought that your opening choice of exchange Slav was very smart, because in a way you keep things under control, at the same time you can press a bit.
Yeah.
And this I don't know if this was also your opening prep till a point.
I also don't know about what she played with this G6 E6 setup, but I felt this was fine for black. Maybe not that bad, but I didn't understand why she didn't go for Bishop D6 instead of Bishop E7.
You mean here?
Even Knight C6, maybe even Knight C6 is not required. Even in the earlier move itself, she could go Bishop
Bishop
D.
d6.
because bishop g5, then bishop e7.
Correct.
And just to play this, because it's quite symmetrical position. Okay, I do have a slight things,
Yeah.
but it's very minimal. Like I only have a plans like rook c1, knight a4, knight c5, a3, b4, which you usually get
Which is
in
the
this kind
typical
of
one.
structures.
Correct.
Uh, but I'm a bit surprised with the way she played without castling. Probably she was expecting to get this f6 and g5, but h4 stops everything.
Yeah. Very strong move. And then knight
And knight
g5.
g5 just stops f6 as well.
And e4 was very powerful.
Yeah, no, but here it was a bit difficult for me to find the right way over the board. In fact, I was a bit confused to go whether queen d3 or queen b3. I was
Hmm.
considering both the plans. Uh, so long castling is one thing which I need to check in every line. So in queen d3, I felt long castle I could go rook into c6.
Mm.
So that was my intention to go for this, to take on a6 and to play that position. When she went for queen f6, yeah. Yeah, here probably I don't know. Maybe knight c3 is not the strong move. I could have played maybe with rook c1 or
Yeah.
something like this, letting her go long castle, then maybe even then rook c6.
Mm.
This might be more precise to,
Because this is hanging,
continue.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, e7 is hanging, right? Uh, somewhere I missed out here and I made it more complex in
You
this
made
game.
it a little bit, but I don't think that you
Yeah, it's still
yeah.
advantage, but I should have finished this game with the queens on board,
Correct.
having her king in the center. So
In the
and
end,
also
it was a bit
seeing something
stressful.
here, I missed out something. Yeah, I think we both were low on time here. So yeah, I think here right. Knight f3 was also not that
Ah,
good.
maybe
I should have
h5
started
directly.
with h5, right?
Yes.
Because these knights are already quite strong to roll this pawn. Yeah. This is one more mistake. And here, for her, the best would be to take on
b2.
b2.
B2, yes.
b2, rook d2, knight c4, rook d3. Yeah, this
But
is the best
again,
way
this
to.
is very difficult to assess as closer to a draw than, with the rooks on board.
Right.
This, but I think the
So
engine
this is
says
the
there is some chance
best
still.
chance for her to fight.
Correct. And here, just
No, after this, I was pretty sure I was winning again. Yeah, before when I was nearing 40, like I misplayed some things, but she also didn't utilize it. Yeah. No, here, in whatever way she plays, my rook is getting activated, and the pawn on f5 is rook f6 is her biggest problem.
yes, that's true.
Yeah.
So this was just a beautiful win, and with this, you reached 7 out of 9, and you won the tournament. It's a big thing for Indian chess that in India the tournament was held. You won. For you personally, as you said, it's a classical victory, which is I think a special one because you won World Rapid Championship, and this is your, I think, I don't know which was your last classical tournament that was really that you were happy about.
Hard to remember also. I think somewhere around 2019, I won the Grand Prix. I remember that was the last
Yes,
Grand Prix
yes.
I won. And I also did pretty well in the Asian Games, the classical event. Yeah.
So this one I think is kind of spurs you for the classical tournaments more because you are playing two of them now.
No, it was like I planned these tournaments long before. It's not like that because I was successful here I'm playing. I come from the tournaments long before itself. But yeah, definitely it's good to, get a positive results. But every tournament is quite strong
Yeah.
because most of the tournaments which I play are with the allied players. So it's quite challenging as well.
How excited are you for Norway and Kane's Cup, both of them?
Norway, I'm going to play for the second time, and this format is quite a interesting one and quite tricky as well because of the scoring system. and the double round robin. So I think it's more tricky than the other round
Mm.
robin tournaments.
Also, it has
Uh,
this Armageddon that happens,
Armageddon with the 7 versus
right?
10 minutes. So yeah, you need to be good at classical and also at the shorter time
Mm.
format as well. So it needs more energy.
Right,
Whereas Carings Cup, I've been there already twice, so it's again quite a very strong tournament, a strong round robin tournament. But okay, as of now, I don't want to think much about it because the first one is Norway, so
mm.
we just with 6 players, 6 of us playing. So I will be working on that.
Right. And does this Grand Prix sort of one of your aims to qualify to the candidates again?
Not really. I think now there are several paths to qualify. And also, the most important thing is I'm not even thinking about the qualification and all these World Championship formats and
Right,
all. So, okay, if it happens, I'll work on that because when I came back after a break, for me, I felt whatever comes on my way, it's a bonus for me
right.
like any other yeah, in any other circumstances most of the time I think for an Indian woman being a mother it's not easy to be so much professional, so I was lucky enough to get the opportunity to continue my career and the support from the family.
Mm.
So I'm happy with whatever I'm able to achieve it, so I'm not too stressed about all these things.
But as you keep achieving one after the other, it keeps inspiring more and more people, like every time we think, okay,
I'm happy that when I see many of the women coming to me, the parents also like saying that though they are into different professions, like they feel
yeah.
motivated that seeing me that I'm winning even tournaments at this point of time. So that makes me feel really happy.
Mm.
So for me, more than winning or achieving something, it's important that I enjoy the sport.
Mm.
That's more important for me because success and failure will be always there in a sport. You can't be always ahead in some things. We'll also have a failures, but to come out of it and to compete is more important.
It's very difficult to change this mindset, no? Because from a young age, you have always tried to win, to try and do this,
Right.
to now say that, okay, I want to enjoy. Results are important, but not the most important. It's very
Yeah,
tough.
like yeah, definitely. Like as you asked about my game with Harika, like am I disappointed with the short draw with white pieces? Definitely, I would have been disappointed during my younger days about these kind of results. But now it doesn't matter for me. For me, it's important to be happy on that particular day. It's important that I enjoy the game. Like I also need to be in a good condition to play the best possible. It's not the same like younger days. Sometimes I also feel very tired after playing few games. I do feel like having some rest. So it also happens in some of the tournaments for me.
Well, Humpy, thank you so much for sparing time and sharing your analysis, your thoughts with us. I know that it's a very important time for you after an event where you want to spend maximally with your family and your daughter. So very grateful for sparing time.
Thank you, Sagar. It's always a pleasure to be in one of your videos because I know ChessBase India is widely followed by a lot of fans all over the world. And you were also, keeping the game always in high spirits and making all of them involved into the sport. So I really enjoyed this interaction as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Humpy. Bye.
Bye.